A lot of different types of switches out there, which can be a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to wire them up. And in the previous videos, I've covered the Oak Grigsby or CRL 3 and 5-way switches, which you'd find in a Fender or Telecaster. And today I'm going to cover the import switch like you'd see in an Ibanez or a cheaper import guitar. This video will be pretty short since I've already covered the wiring patterns and how the internals work for the Oak Grigsby or CRL switch. So basically I'm just going to talk about a few different kinds. There's the Ibanez style switch like that one. There's a Yamaha, there's the YM-30, which is the 3-way, and then the YM-50, which is the 5-way. And then there's other brands that all are going to be pretty similar to the YM-30 and 50. So I made up a little graphic here just to show you the difference between the lug patterns on the CRL switch and the import switch. So on this switch, you have 4 lugs on each side, as we've covered in previous videos, and I've labeled them 1, 2, 3, and 0. 0 being the common, meaning it's always connected. So you're always either connecting 1, 2, or 3 to 0 on both sides at the same time. And the only difference between the CRL switch and the import switch is the lugs are on 2 sides, and on this they're top and bottom. So that's it. If you're dealing with an Ibanez, then the only difference between the typical import switch and the Ibanez is going to be that the lugs 1 to 3 are going to be reversed. Now I don't know why they do that, they just like to make it complicated, I guess. So instead of 1 to 3 here, you have 1 to 3 here. So that's all you have to know about import switches. I'll wire one up just to show you how it works. And don't worry if you've forgotten any of this, because all of these visuals and everything that I've covered previously in this entire course, I've put together into an infographic called Guitar Wiring Cheat Sheet, which you can download in the description below. Follow the link, put in your email, and it's yours. It's something that I wish I had when I was learning how to wire guitars. So I just added in a very basic wiring pattern. You've got your bridge, middle, and neck going into these 3 lugs. I've got a jumper from 0 to 0, and then the tone going off of 2 and 3, and then the reverse for the Ibanez or CRL VLX54 5-way switch, just to hammer it in your head that it's reversed. And that's all you have to think about for these import switches. Is the YM-50 will be similar to basically all the other brand switches that you're going to get, and the Ibanez CRL is doing its own thing with these reversed lug patterns. I won't go into too much detail in terms of different wiring patterns that you can do. There's an endless amount of combinations, but you can find a few different ones in the previous videos, the 3 and the 5-way switch that I covered. And if you want to get really in depth with it, then download that guitar wiring cheat sheet, and you can go to a website, which I've also talked about in previous videos, called Guitar Wiring Electronics, where you can find a bunch of different wiring diagrams, and you can go through and really solidify your understanding and maybe even push it into things like mega switches, super switches, rotary switches. So I'll put that link in the description below. I'll put the link for the cheat sheet as well as the playlist, which should be on the side here. And that basically wraps up my guitar wiring for beginners course. If you have any other questions, you can post them in the comments below in my community section. That's all for now. I'll see you next week.